myself a better person, and I want more out of life. And why I didn't want to do that when I was younger, I don't know, maybe people drove me nuts. It seemed like they're constantly trying to control my life. Seems like that now, like people trying to tell me what I can and can't do. Look at these deer close to the road. I barely didn't see in this windshield. It's so clustered of bugs that shadow I got in behind the sun, and so a horse by a camper. No one's there. Poor horse is all alone. Oh, and there's a doggy. He's got a dog. He has a friend. Look at that view. Look at that. Insane, huh? It's just incredible views we get in Utah. Wonder if that was the guy that owned the horse and the dog. I don't know, he kind of looked like a construction type worker. Truck. No, we had a four-wheeler in the back for hunting. Yeah, it's cool up here. There's some big horns in the back of that truck. Big elk. I'm still trying to get another one or what? I forgot what I was talking about before. My hands, my thumbs starting to tingle because it's the cold. They start to go, when they get too cold, they'll start to tingle. And oh man, when I first started riding, yeah, you think it looks easy when you, oh man, cruising down the road and you see these bikers, you're like, oh, that looks like good times, you know. They're traveling across, it looks like they're on well, the ones that are packed up, you know, you can tell the ones that are on a long road trip and are seeing some country, and they're dealing with the elements, just being right out in the open and not having cruise control on my hands, throttling back the whole time where it's going numb, and you learn quick, or you find out quick what your tolerances are, or just how it really is. There's those guys that they buy a bike. There's a lot of them for sale, cruisers that have low mileage on them, and they don't ride. I don't get it. I guess they're the types that just jumps on it to go show it off. They polish it every day and look at it and drool over it. Oh, and her baby in it, and they take it to the liquor store or the bar to show it off, or just down around town. They don't go out and ride. I don't get it. Maybe they have lots of other toys that they get their thrill off of, and they're just, because there's always bikes that are, you know, the year they're 6 years old. There's bikes that are older than mine that I have more mileage on them. You'll see them. I bought this bike to ride and go out and explore the, yeah, it's been great going and seeing all the national parks. Ride through the national parks and go places on this thing. It's been incredible. It's been a lot of fun. There's different riders. Everyone's different. You know, you have your sport bike guys that just go out and want to ride wheelies and ride fast, show off, get a girl on the back, hunting for girls, or, you know, it's a lot of times it's showing off, what they got and to try to get more, I guess. I'm not one of those guys. So the longest time there's so many bugs on this. This bike is clean. So if you see this video and I was showing you this bike, it's that road right there will take you to Schofield and out to Highway 6. But it's still a ways. And that would take me out farther, longer to get home. This way's the quickest, so. I recently, when I rode up to my ex-brother-in-law's, he's one of the guys that has to polish and have his stuff looking nice, and it's just like, oh, see, the sun's making it hard. I need to probably slow down. I want a deer to jump out in front of me. It's like a show off and like, oh, look what I got, and likes his stuff looking neat. I mean, which is, I respect that. I have no problem with it. I'm just not that type of person. I would rather ride my bike than spend time spraying off the bugs. So when I rode up to Ogden, before we went riding ever together, he had to wash off his take his bikes to the car wash. And I was paranoid, you know. I think I'd done it one time before. After a few months I first had the bike, I was riding it in the weather, you know, rain. It would rain. I'd put rain gear on just to go out and get familiar with riding the bike and just wanting to be on the motorcycle, you know. I'd stay around close, you know, just go around the lake, Utah Lake, and just not go out too far on long adventures if it was raining, any little time I had. But I think it got muddy and I sprayed it off once. I was kind of a little bit paranoid about, you know, wondering if it's okay to take your bike to a bike wash, you know, not really knowing. See that sun glare? It's in my eyes. So yeah, and then I just like, I like to come home, and I don't have much time. I like to go pretty good long road trips, a few hours away from Spanish Fork to go to like the Bryce Canyon. It's a good day trip, you know. If you go down there and spend one night and then come back, I would go down there and spend the whole day. I'd wake up early in the morning and then come back. I'd be getting back at 8 or 9 or 10 o'clock at night, you know, in the summers when more sunlight, and I'm just spending all day sitting on the bike riding. So I mean, a lot has to do with, you know, me used to being over the road truck driving, you know, knowing how to sit on my ass. And your ass gets so sore. It's like, wow, this is not comfortable. I don't know why I thought this would have been comfortable as it looks, you know, when you see it. But no. So this is for any of you guys thinking about getting into it. There you go. There's some advice for you. And I used to do flatbed where I was strapping down and doing tarp loads, and my shoulders are worked, man. I've overworked my arms, and a part of that I think is from being on a bad diet, just trying to eat for nothing and save a lot of money so I can have more money to go out and do the things I love, you know, and buy, you know, put more money into things I want to buy. Yeah, I used to eat a lot of cup of soup and stuff for lunch. I would eat it cold in the summers. I'd have a bottled water, you know, and just pour bottled water in a cup of soup, and I would just eat them things cold. I'd let it get soggy a little teeny bit. They'd still be crunchy, and I'd just be eating that. Can you imagine all that? Yeah, not getting enough food, and I think that's why my arms, my shoulders just got worked, you know, and I'm riding, my arms are just feeling like they don't want to work anymore, like they're just gonna, when it gets cold, it's like that. When I was coming back from St. George once in a it had just snowed, and I was like, it was still raining, and it was cold, and it just like my arm was not wanting. It was, they just stopped working. They get worn out, and especially with all the multiple stops with the company that I did when we did the cattle gates, and used to do a lot of the another multiple stop place we had. It's like most of their stuff was multiple drops, you know, so you would, when you'd get to an area, you know, you'd have a few stops close by within 200 miles apart, or even closer than that, where they just get as much on you as possible, so you can, they work it to be able to get as much done and make as much money. See, now my neck's kind of bothering me. I've had like a pinched nerve in my shoulder. My shoulders have been bugging me. You don't want to listen to this, me like I'm crying about my health, but let that be a lesson to you, man. I think it was trying to just not feed myself properly. I didn't have as, I always have, you know, crap to munch on, like nuts, and I think it's just the wrong sort of food. Constantly eating, just that it takes a toll on your body. Makes it worse. All those carbohydrates, and so I've tried to get things to help my, you know, recuperate my system and get me to where I'm 100%. I don't think I'll ever be 100%. The older you get, the more problems you have, and you just slowly, more things. I started late in my life, like just with everything. It seems like I'm a late bloomer with everything. But I've done with certain things, some things like I guess where you have to have more money to be able to do like this motorcycle, take road trips on a motorcycle. Like skateboarding and having a bike, I tore the shit up when I was young. Maybe that's why too, just loving skateboarding, riding half pipes and riding bowls and just ripping up in a big bowl, you know. I was skateboarding big bowls in Salt Lake City up until, well, how long has it been? Well, I moved back with my parents 10 years ago. My mom just turned 80 on the 1st, and yeah, my dad just recently had a hip replaced, so yeah, it's been fun trying to take care of him. He's recuperating in a rehabilitation center, you know, trying to get to where he's can function properly. But he's 80 years old. He's been working up until like just 2 months ago, bagging groceries up until he's 81 years old, because he has a sibling, his daughters that, you know, are having hard times and constantly needing money, and it's like, I don't want to get into all that, and yeah, I don't know what no one wants to hear these sad times, but shit happens, right? I don't know what I was going on about. The lead led me to all this. I've told you what's happened to me in the last few months. It's heartbreaking and sad, and it makes me wonder, wow, do I deserve all this happening? What did I do to deserve this? Maybe I was, you know, you never know. So yeah, it's getting a little warmer. My problems with my shoulders and it's a hard thing to keep doing this hard lifestyle. Riding a motorcycle's, it's work. It ain't easy, man. It's yeah, bikers they're tough. Like the first time you ride 65 miles an hour or 70 miles an hour on the freeway, your body's tensing up and you're not relaxed. You're on this machine that's out in the open, man, and it's scary. It's like, damn, you know, if any little thing, you're trying to watch out for every little thing. Your mind's looking for rocks on the road and looking up ahead and making sure, you know, everything's clear. Right when you get started to ride, you have experiences within no time of, you know, things happening. A piece of rubber from the tire, a car, you notice it. That happened to me recently right after I was on the freeway. It's like they purposely moved over to hit it, and they hit it and it fling and it's going flying right past my face, barely missing me, you know. And there's people riding, just tailgating. I don't understand. I sit and watch these people tailgating, and they're riding down the freeway going 75, 80 miles an hour, and they're just tailgating a freaking on the highway. You don't know what's up in front of them. You can't see when you're on someone's ass like that. You cannot see up there past them when there's a line of cars. They're all tailgating each other, and there's all this traffic. You're not gonna have time to move out of a freaking way when everyone starts to swerve, and they're, you know, give yourself some room. Give me a break. It drives me nuts. I get pissed for them, thinking of how big of idiots they can be when I see that. And on top of it, they don't have a helmet on, you know. So yeah, going your first time on a freeway, your body's tense and your body just gets worked quicker.